I realized that the longer I'm waiting to have the perfect background before I tell this story, the longer this story grows cold. This is a story of how I went from being depressed, being suicidal, to building House of Days Rest, a multimillionaire brand. Hello, my name is ADAEZE. I'm a resin artist, a founder, a creator, a strategist, and a UGC creator. If I was to write a story about my life, 2017 to 2022 is going to be titled The Year I Lost My Life, and 2023 will be titled Way I Recovered My Life, because it was not a pleasant experience. 2017 to 2022 was the most depressing period of my life that at a point I thought of ending it all. But today I'm very, very happy. I'm very proud of myself that I did not take that decision, and I'm very proud to say that I've been able to crack that code. It gets to a point in your life when you feel that all hope is lost, you don't know what to do again. All I'm telling you today is to continue, keep on thriving, and definitely you are going to crack that code. This House of David didn't start in 2023. House of David has always been there as far back as my secondary school days. People that know me very well know that I have always loved business. I've always loved doing business. I remember from secondary school, I remember I sold things like 20 leaves, foolscap sheets. I even did zobo that I took to school. So I've always been a business person. The name Days Rest, I founded that name during my secondary school days, and then in my SS3 I founded House of Days Rest. So House of Days Rest has always been there. House of Days Rest became a household brand in 2023. So how did it happen? Before 2023, I've done a lot of things. I've done makeup, I've done hairdressing, I bake for people. And before 2023, the last thing I remember doing was being a network marketer. I got into the university in 2020 during the COVID period. I got in as a network marketer. I also got in as a caterer because I was still baking cake and cooking for people. But then it was so much. The depression did not end because the business I was doing was not funding my lifestyle. It was not giving me money. You know, when you are working so hard and you're not seeing the money that you're working hard for, that was the situation that I was in. I used to think that the only way to make money is by working hard, until I started attending seminars, listening to creators, listening to a lot of people, and I realized that you do not make money by working hard, you make money by working smart. Because the business I was running at that time could no longer sustain me. Imagine being a student and then you have to call home. Sometimes even when you call home, maybe it is not available at that moment. So as a student, you need to engage yourself in something that is going to give you funds. I had to go in search. I had to go on social media thinking about businesses that I can run as a student that is not just going to give me money, but also give me the time freedom to be able to focus on my studies and not to be a dropout. And that was when I found resin. And one thing that attracted me to resin was that resin was a creative art. And me myself, being someone that loves creatives, being someone that is creative, like I'm very creative right from time. If you can remember, I mentioned that I was a hairdresser, I've done baking, I've done makeup, like I was a makeup artist in 2017. So you already know that I'm a very creative person. I had to go on and make research about resin. One thing I'm going to tell you as a person is that any business you want to do, don't go and jump on any business because you said everybody is doing them. The first thing you have to do is to make your research. So when I founded resin, it took me like 5 months before I started. I had to go for trainings upon trainings upon training. And while I was training, I needed to make sure that, oh, this is a business I wanted to do. In fact, from the first time I saw resin, I was connected to it. I loved that art. And that was how I started my journey on being a resin artist. One thing is starting a business, and the next thing is being able to build that business into what you want. So while I was researching on resin, being myself that I love things about business, I was reading business books. I have mentors that they don't even know that they are my mentor. Lots of business people, because I needed my business to succeed. One thing I always had at the back of my mind is, after school, what next? I needed to build a business that when I graduate, I am graduating with this business, because I already know the country that we are in. Unless you have connections or anything, it is not really easy getting a job after school. And then I had to go in search of how am I going to make this business successful. And that brought me to launch day. I wanted my launch day to be massive. I don't just want to wake up and just launch a business. No, I had to make research. Now, as a student, being a student, the first thing I did was I started joining different groups. All right, I'm in a student area. I attended University of Nigeria in 𝒲𝒾𝓉𝒽. I graduated with a second class upper division no carryovers, nothing while running a business. So if I can do it, you too can do it. Also focused on launch day. I wanted to like make massive sales on my launch day. I started joining groups, like a lot of group. I'll reach out to people and be like, please, do you know any group that I can join? Do you know, like, I joined up to, I think that I joined up to, let me say, close to 80 something group. I remember very, very well. I started reaching out to people. I started sending my flyers, like, I started doing these things 3 weeks before launch day. I started sending out my flyers, telling people, oh, this is what I do, and the rest of the. And guess what? Before launch day, I started getting order. And on launch day, orders were massive. People were reposting for me. And the first month I launched this resin business, I made 96,000 naira. I was super excited. I looked at my account balance. I saw that my account balance was already in 6 figures. Do you know what I told myself? I told myself that if this business can pay me this amount of money as a 200 level student, how much more if I put in so much effort? Like, how much more is this business going to pay me? This 96,000 naira that I'm telling you is different from the money I'm going to use and restock, because I still have enough material. The materials I started this business was what, 56,000 naira. So buying those materials of 56,000 naira and making resin pieces, because I had to calculate it, I think I made 190 something thousand naira. So you see that it was over 100% profit from what I bought. And that was how my story started. I started reaching out to some persons. And now let me explain something. It wasn't easy at first. It got to a point that after that launch day, it got to a point that I was not seeing sales, I was not making sales. Do you know what I did? I remember that in this university that I am, that we have girls hostels. I mean, like, there is Balewa, there is Merisleso, there is 𝒲𝒾𝓉𝒽, like, there are lots of hostels here. What did I do? After my lectures, I will take some of my pieces. There's something I always tell my student right now. I tell my student to be the product of your product. Okay, when you are the product of your product, you can easily advertise what you sell. Then I made a lot of pieces for myself. I made jewelries, I made keychains. So I'll go to these hostels, and even before I introduce what I'm doing to somebody, the person will be like, oh, I love your keychain, oh, I love your jewelry, where did you get it from? Now it's very easy for me to introduce it to them. The days that I don't carry, I still go to these places. So I was so all out for this business. I was so all out for my brand. That was how I continued. And before you know it, people started getting interest in it. They wanted me to train them how to make research in this Enugu. I said that, oh, there are a lot of people into this resin. I started creating more awareness. People started signing up for classes. And before you know it, 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, I started selling resin materials. And before I started selling resin materials, I had to go and learn importation. So I paid someone to teach me how to import these items. I started selling resin materials. And not just that, I started importing phones for people, like importing a lot of things for people. I was doing all these things and I was still going to lectures. Like, I didn't allow my business to stop me from my academics, because the first thing that brought me to this university was my academics. So I didn't allow it to disrupt my academics. So I was doing all these things, and because of the way I was able to manage my timing, even up till now, I still have that feeling. It's kind of part of me. Because during those periods, at days, I'm going to lectures. Then in the night, I'm doing either pen paper assignments or packing and order, making resin products. Right now, sometimes I stay awake till 2 a.m. Even when I want to sleep, like I want to force myself to sleep. But because my body has adapted to that discipline I gave myself, I can't sleep. And then when I sleep around 2 a.m., most times I wake up around 6, I wake up around 7. So what I do now is that even when I wake up, I try as much as possible to also sleep in the day. This business started growing, and we did our 1 year anniversary. And this year, in June 15th, 2025, we also celebrate our 2nd year anniversary. And when I was talking about 2nd year anniversary, a lot of people doubted me. They were like, your brand is looking like a 5-year brand. Like, what do you mean by 2 years? It's because I put in the effort. I don't want this video, I just want this video to be about what I am, how I did it. But then I'm still going to break down how I was able to do it, how I was able to manage the timing, how I was able to read. Because trust me, if you want to be a successful business person, you have to read. Right now, me myself, people think I've figured it all, but I've not had it figured all, because I've not figured it all yet, because I know where I still want to be. I still want to get to a certain level. And apart from being a resin artist, apart from being a resin vendor, Right now, I'm a UGC content creator. I'm trying to build my own personal brand. Like I'm working towards personal brand. Or I've not got all of them, everything figured out. But you have to start step by step. It is a gradual process. I did a lot of business in school before resin. So you have to understand that one thing that made me to move on to resin was because resin gave me time freedom. When I was a caterer, I was cooking for people, doing shawarma and a lot of things. It didn't give me that time freedom. Most times I'm in class, a customer is calling me, oh, we want shawarma, we want this, we want that, and then I end up losing that customer. So as a student, you have to find a business that is going to align with the course. So far, I've directly trained and mentored over 400 students, and then I've also trained over 2,000 students through workshop, free classes, online classes, and a whole lot of them. I'm working towards being one of the top resin artists, not just in Nigeria, but the whole world. This is just a summary of my story. Trust me, this is just the beginning, because I'm going to be bringing business tips to you that is not just about resin, but a whole lot of things. Especially if you are a student, you are so confused about running a business and going to school. Trust me, running a business and going to school can be depressing. I've not even talked about that part. I've not talked about the challenges I face, even from my fellow students, even from lecturers. So I still have a lot of things and a lot of tips I'm going to give to you. So all you have to do is just follow me or subscribe, turn on your notification button, and you're going to get notification for every tip I am going to share. The tips I'm sharing is not just for students, but I have the student series and then I have the general business series. So if you know any student that you know can benefit from this upcoming training, send them my profile link to follow. If you know any business person that is struggling, also send them my page to follow. Because in my next training videos, I'm going to be talking about target audience, how to target the right audience for your brand. I'm going to be talking about how to run ads. Like, I'm going to be talking about a whole lot of business tips. Students watching this, I want you to always have this at the back of your mind. After school, what next? And if you're not a student, you are a struggling business person, I want you to always have this at the back of your mind. Where do I want my business to be in the next 5 years? If you are yet to get this answer, don't forget to follow me for more business tips. And don't forget, my name is ADAEZE and I am the Game Changer. Thank you so much for watching and do have a nice day. Bye.